All right, we're going to break down the 1998 one-game playoff between the Cubs and the Giants. Setting the stage here for you really quick because this was one of those games that should not have ever had to happen for the Cubs and was also one of those games, if you believe in game-to-game momentum, all momentum was on the Giants side. Cubs had lost 6 of 8. Giants had won 8 of 10. The Cubs had a 5-game lead in the wild card. Only one wild card back in 1998. They had a 5-game lead on September 17th. And then all the way over to tying it with the Giants. The Mets were right there neck and neck as well. Now, luckily for the Cubs, they blew a 3-1 lead on the final game of the season in the 8th inning, but the Giants lost on a walk-off to former Cub Nafi Perez on a walk-off home run in Colorado. So there was a lot of things that brought them to this point where it was like, hey, probably shouldn't have to play this game because they had such a large lead in the wild card, but also pretty blessed to not have to lose it on the final game of this season. Now, the last time the Cubs were in the playoffs was 1989. As you get a quick shot here of Dusty Baker, does the dude even age? He looks the same today as he did back then. Maybe a little bit more of a belly today and a few more grays. But how about this, the starting nine for the Cubs? It's fun looking back on all this, man. Henry Rodriguez in the left. You got Charles Johnson in center. Sammy Sosa, of course, in 98. You all know what happened then. Gary Gaetti at third. Jose Hernandez and Mickey Morandini are your up-the-middle double-A combo. And then Mark Grace at first base. You got Tyler Houston behind the plate and Steve Traxel, who, to be completely honest, didn't have all that great of a season, mid-4s ERA, but gets the starting nod for the biggest game, one of the biggest games in Cubs history. We're going to start it off here with Barry Bonds in the first inning. Some light numbers, dare I say light numbers, right? If you put up these numbers today in baseball, you are an MVP. But his slugging percentage, 4th in the NL, 305 batting average, probably doesn't even rank in the top 20, and 37 home runs, 121 RBIs for a guy that just a few years later was hitting 73 bombs. And this was the key to the Cubs' success on this night on September 28th of 1998. Traxel paints 2 fastballs right away to Bonds. Bonds kind of like, you sure that one's a strikeout there? And then on 0-2, jams the fastball inside on him. And then on 0-2, once again, you've got Bonds getting ready for now a splitter in the dirt. I think that was a splitter. Might have been something else, but it looked like a splitter. Then you got a fastball outside. And then Bonds does not ever strike out, but he does here. The splitter gets him, and that's the top of the first. They go down in order, and in the bottom of the first, Mickey Morandini. I swear, he is the least baseball-looking baseball player that I had ever seen, but he put up a really good 1998 season, 296 batting average coming into the game, singles with 1 out, slamming Sammy. The crowd could not wait for this. They wanted to see number 67. Now, Sammy would not get number 67, as we all know, as the record was 66. By the way, 158 RBIs. Well, now, 1 second here. When you think about 158 RBIs, like, when's the last time you can actually think of a player having that many RBIs in a season? And then you think, well, that's got to be like top 5 all time, right? That is tied for 25th all time. The number, I had to look this up, the number 1 in all the history of baseball is 191 in one season by Hack Wilson in 1930, and I'm sure that they were probably playing, if not 154, below 154 games in that season. But just stupid video game numbers for Sammy, and so everyone's got their light bulbs and cameras ready, and then check swing, ground ball, double play, goes 1-6-3, and the Giants are out of the inning. So the Cubs do nothing. It's still 0-0. Top of the, I should say bottom of the second now, you got Mark Grace coming up, rips a single, doing what he does best. So that starts the inning, and then Gary Gaetti 1 out later, another ground out double play to end the inning. So the Cubs get 2 singles in each of the first 2 innings, but then ground out double play to end both of those innings. And then in the third, now Traxel is not allowed to hit yet. He sends a curveball over to Brian Johnson, who gets a hold of it, but the wind is blowing in from right field on this night. That saves a home run from the light-hitting Brian Johnson, and the Cubs still remain at a scoreless tie. Rich Aurelia later in the inning gets called out on a 3rd strike, so the attempted stolen base goes for naught. Bottom of the 3rd inning, the Cubs trying to get something going. Tyler Houston drives this one. Man, I mean, off the bat, that's gone, right? Especially that left center field wall, but wind playing some tricks, so Now, top of the fourth, second Barry Bonds at bat. We're going to go through this thing. Starts him off with a curveball this time instead of those fastballs. But then, fastball on the outside corner. You just don't see this swing very often from Bonds. Loses his footing a little bit there. I'm just not used to seeing Bonds do that, it's almost like he was kind of pressing in this game, or, I didn't become a baseball fan until 99, so maybe this is just a different version of Bonds that I never saw, because I always saw the heavy hitter. Tries to get him on the 1-2 fastball down and in, and it looks like a changeup / splitter again. Got him on the strikeout in the first inning on the splitter. This time gets him to ground out to start the fourth inning. Later in the fourth, though, Traxel kind of starts to come unglued, hits Kent on a 1-2 pitch. Then the very next batter, full count, 1 out, and that's ball 4. After a ground out from JT Snow at second and third, and check this out, misses on a 2-1, but we got a hot mic on the field. Hot mic alert.
You're embarrassing yourself on national TV!
You're embarrassing yourself on national TV, says that fan. I love it. But another walk. So now you've got bases loaded, 2 outs. It's Brian Johnson who flew out to deep right his first at bat. Traxel dealing with a 2-1 count. Lays the fastball in there. Got away with that one. And then the very next pitch, decides to go with the hook. And that, my friends, is right down the middle for strike 3. Gets out of it. A very, very intense inning. And then you go to the bottom of the fourth, and how about back in 1998? Check out this. No smartphones, no cameras on your phones, no video cameras on your phones. Look at the flash camcorder here. This is going serious stuff for Sammy's at bat. Sammy takes a little slider off the plate for ball 1. Curveball, ball 2. And then on 2-0, he's sitting dead right fastball, and there's Javi Baez all over that one. You forget just what Sammy used to do. He used to do a lot of this. Swing at that curveball, low and away, slider, low and away, and swing through the fastball inside, and then, that hook. That was a dirty hook. You got to tip your hat to Mark Gardner on that one. Gardner was throwing a pretty good game here for the Giants. So Cubs do not score in the fourth inning, and then you got Bonds, top of the fifth. I'm telling you, Traxel, it's like he knew the game plan against Bonds. Another bad swing to start off the at-bat. Then on the second pitch of the at-bat, you got another called fastball outside corner. That one looked like it was a little bit off. Bonds, once again, is like, dude, no, not again. Now it's 0-2 again. And what did he do the first time on 0-2? He went high fastball, and this time, once again, he goes high fastball. Pop out to Gary Gaetti. Bonds is 0 for 3 to start this game against Traxel. And Henry Rodriguez is starting a little something in the fifth inning. Deep single over to the right center alley. And then Gary Gaetti. I got something for you on Gary Gaetti. First of all, first pitch, paint. That's fastball right there on the corner. Gaetti. Is he not Joe from Impractical Jokers? Do not sit there and tell me that is not Joe from Impractical Jokers. That is a distant cousin or a separated at birth twins. That there's something going on there, because those are the exact same people. All right, going back to it now, fastball on the inside part of the plate. Gary Gaetti does not like that one. But after 2 painted fastballs, Mark Gardner forgets his paintbrush on the third pitch and pipes it right down the middle. Gaetti, a 2-run home run. And that just barely gets out, about 2 rows up into the bleachers. Got to be one of the biggest hits of his career to date. That makes it 2-0 Cubs. His wife is stoked. And even the bleachers, beer all over the place. So bleacher bums are at it after a little bit of a break. Back at the action. And hey, we got a no-hitter alert. That is 6 no-hit innings from Steve Traxel. And then Cubs go back to work in the bottom of the 6th. Charles Johnson with a 40-ounce bat, by the way. A lot of people don't know that. Charles Johnson, one of the smaller guys in the league, swinging a 40-ounce bat, singles to start the inning. Then 1 out later, Sammy with a measly little single up the middle, but Johnson is not stopping. He hits third, and now you got first and third with 1 out for Mr. Grace. Dusty not feeling it with Mark Gardner, takes him out, brings in the lefty, and first at bat, Mark Grace walks. Now you got bases loaded with 1 out, and I got to tell you, I did not know this name. Matt Mieske, and he's pinch hitting for Henry Rodriguez. Light hitting Matt Mieske, the righty hitting for the lefty Henry Rodriguez, and Jim Riggleman pulled the right lever because that is a base hit into right field. Scores 2 runs. Johnson and Sosa score, and now the Cubs, that's the one hit that just felt like it broke the camel's back. You just have all of this tension going into this at bat, and suddenly a 4-0 lead now, and the Cubs feel like they have some breathing room. They don't score again in the 6th inning, but they do shut down the opposition in the 7th. Traxel gives up his very first base hit of the game. That one off the bat of pinch hitter Brent Main. So Traxel now over 120 pitches, I believe, is what he ended up being at. Does walk the next batter, Armando Rios, and that's an easy decision with no longer a no-hitter intact, even though he thought he had strike three. That was a full count pitch. Thought he had him, but Jim Riggleman's got to go to the bullpen at this point. Giving up the first hit, you got a 4-0 lead. Don't want to get it out of control here. Matt Karchner comes in. Not a great season from Karchner, but Orlando Merced also coming in left field. Why is that important? Well, you come in as a defensive replacement, and I'm telling you, the ball finds you the very first one. My goodness, uses the wall to literally propel himself up and catch it and avoid the bullpen area. You know, you hate to think about Moises Alou and Steve Bartman, but how do you not think of it right there? 5 years before its time, of course. And Stan Javier cannot believe that that ball was caught. Sean Dunston coming in to pinch hit for Rich Aurelia, and he gets the infield single. So now suddenly it's tying run at the plate with 2 outs as it is bases loaded, and guess who? Barry Bonds. So who comes in? Felix Heredia, named from the past as well, right? But again, not a great season from Felix. 5 ERA, but gets the one pitch that he needed to against the one guy that every single Cub needed to see get out, and that one was the biggest out by far. And now, how about a little bit of fun from Bill Murray? That was a young Ron Santo right next to him, too. Fun to see him. Sammy, they want number 67. Here's his third at bat. He has a hit and he has a strikeout, and he's going to lead off the 7th inning with a little bloop single down the right field line. And that's off of Jose Mesa, which, if you look at his baseball reference page, 6'3", 170 pounds. Yeah, right.
Weight 105? Yeah, in your bra.
Next batter, Mark Grace, and he finds the grass in right field. That's going to be a double. Sosa heads over to third. Grace, hey, he didn't run with the best of them, but that wasn't exactly an automatic double, and he gets in there to second base. So the Cubs are trying to tack on with 2 outs, but then Gary Gaetti, batting Mesa, uncorks one. That one goes back to the backstop, and you've got yourself a 5-0 lead going into the 9th inning. This feels all but locked down, but hey, it is the Cubs. And it is pre-World Series Cubs. So first pitch of the 9th inning off Tapani is Brent Main's second single of the game. Next batter is future Cub Bill Miller. He singles up the middle, and suddenly you've got first and third with nobody out. And so that spells the end for Kevin Tapani. Riggleman calls down to the bullpen. He says, I want the lefty, Terry Mulholland, who is just sporting a really, really manly goatee. And the very first batter greets him rudely, base hit into left. Now you've got a 5-1 game. Suddenly the tying run is on deck. That means it's a save situation, but Riggleman's going to keep him in because after Burks, right here, who he walks, you've got Bonds one more time. And so it's bases loaded with nobody out. It's a 5-1 game and the biggest game in Cubs history in a long time. And Bonds, liner, absolutely blasted. If he got under that even a little bit more, that thing is way out of this ballpark, but it's caught by Sammy. And do y'all remember when Sammy had this arm? Look at that throw from nearly the warning track, and he one-hops to the catcher. I mean, he almost caught him. I forgot how good Sammy's arm used to be. Bonds can't believe it. He's like, man, I just missed that one. So that's going to do it for Mulholland. In comes Rod Beck, the shooter. It's 5-2. It's Jeff Kent, and it is a ground ball double play. Unfortunately, they have a little bit of trouble right there, and Kent gets aboard safely. So now it's 5-3. You still have the tying run at the plate, and it's the home run hitter and clutch player in Joe Carter, who is Mr. 1993 World Series hero. At this point, he was the 30th on the list for home runs at 396. So you're still nervous. You're still very nervous. And the first 2 pitches, strike one, then ball one. Then it's down low on the off speed from Rod Beck on 2-1. And by the way, at this point, look at this guy. I mean, you're for sure thinking that guy's like 45 years old and still in the league, right? He's 30 years old. He had just turned 30 years old. Rod Beck. Rest in peace. Foul ball. makes it 2-2. And then at the moment, one of the coolest moments that you will ever see in Cubs history, as Mark Grace, who has been with them through thick and thin, catches the foul out and just breathes this huge sigh of relief. Cubs are going to the playoffs. They do lose in 3 straight games to the Braves, and that spells the end for them in 1998. But what a game to remember. And how about Sammy Sosa after the game? Hey, let me show you my chest. Let me show you everything, guys. Let me show you just how strong I am. But pretty cool to see him and the Cubs celebrate after one like this. Cubs fans, if there is a game that you want me to break down from the past, go ahead and let me know which game that is, and I'd be happy to take a look at doing that for you if we can find good film.